SC asked me to talk about how the heck Netflix went from good to great. My main thinking was it was about us getting better and better and better at making what I call wicked hard decisions, okay? So if you look at the Netflix culture deck, this is one of the pages. There are 9 values, 9 things that people look for in product leaders and marketing leaders, et cetera. And so this is the stuff that I want to focus a little bit on, how we developed our ability to make these wicked hard decisions. And I'm going to make you live it, okay? I've got about 5 different case studies. Do we have any lawyers in the room? Thank you. I love you, okay? Because you guys are used to case studies. I've already found the MBAs. I'm going to get you pitching in. There's some clues in here at Netflix. You think strategically, and you're very articulate about what you're going to do, but more importantly, what you're not going to do. And you're also very thoughtful about timing, about what you're going to do now and what you're going to do later. So these are some clues when we get into the meat of these cases. From background, to understand me, I spend time doing good for the world, and that's largely been through kids and education. And then I nicely rot people's brains out, encouraging them to watch way too much TV and movies, or doing bang bang shoot 'em ups with Electronic Arts. Does anybody recognize the bald-headed guy here? That's the shark, right? That's Kevin O'Leary. So I started a company based on Sesame Street software, sold Creative Wonders to him, and then we grew Learning Company. He made his $3.7 billion selling Learning Company to Mattel, okay? All right, so my agenda here is it's talking about our ability to handle these wicked hard decisions. I got to give you some context, so I got to remind you about what Netflix was. I'm going to talk about consumer science. So a lot of the decisions were quite easy. Better living through math, A/B testing. I'm going to describe for you the Netflix product strategy. And if you haven't learned this, Netflix people are wonderfully candid. So I'm going to tell you all the stupid ideas that I had that didn't work out, okay? And then I've got 4 more cases for you. And then I'm going to talk about some things, if you look at these wicked hard decisions, some principles in making them better. So most of the decisions at Netflix were pretty easy, okay? Better living through math. The way that we thought about, we call it consumer science. So the idea was that you get wicked smart about what consumers will value, not, do, don't, through some qualitative, through surveys, you ask them what they think, through digging in the dirt with existing data and forming theories and hypotheses. The big dog was A/B testing, okay? So, like I would go to cocktail parties and they say, hey, Gib, I can never get the fricking new releases that I want. And I had tested it. I had put 500,000 customers into a perfect new release experience. They asked for a new release, they got it the next day in the mail. And I knew the retention only improved by that much, and I knew I'd also have to charge them $30 instead of 22, okay? And I knew that through A/B testing, okay? But they still thought I was evil, okay? So, and the big idea was that I'd have a product leader who was focused on streaming, for instance, and the idea was through these tools and through the ability to A/B test and through data, that person, you know, this is very different from a world that Steve Jobs lives in. That person was bright, and we would give them the tools to, and essentially democratize creative genius. And that's the way we thought about it, okay? Netflix strategy. Thing 1, get big on DVD. Thing 2, lead downloading, and then expand internationally. That's the way we thought about life, okay? The biggest idea was creating this virtuous cycle. The idea was that the more customers that we had, the more Netflix-ready devices that we could get. And that means watching Netflix on a device connected to your television. Okay? So on an Xbox, on a PlayStation, on a Wii, on your iPhone, today there are about 2,000 Netflix-ready devices that let you watch instantly on your television, okay? And the more of that we had going on, the better our ability to talk these movie studios in LA into getting content on our platform, okay? This is the way we thought about it. It was really hard, okay? So some of these wicked hard decisions were, how do we get that virtuous cycle going a little bit faster? Product strategy. So I'm just going to give you a reveal how I think about product strategy. My job is to delight customers in hard-to-copy, margin-enhancing ways, okay? So I know how to delight customers. All of you would be delighted if I offered you Netflix for free, okay? My shareholders would not, okay? So it's this balancing act between how much customers value stuff and how much it costs to do that. In that new release example, it was way too expensive to provide that perfect new release experience. The hard-to-copy plate, I would have a product manager so proud and excited about some new non-member homepage where you would get your free trial. And then I'm like, shit, Blockbuster's going to do exactly that a month from now, okay? I mean, I'm glad you found something that works, but bonus points or super bonus points, which are this much, if you can do something that Blockbuster can't copy in a month, okay? And those things that are hard to copy, this is why I love engineers. You know, the personalization algorithms is an example. These network effects, we tried to make friends work, it didn't. But this virtuous cycle was incredibly hard for anyone else to replicate. Economies of scale, it costs Netflix today about 2 cents an hour just to deliver the bits for you to watch a movie. It costs Hulu about 20 cents an hour, okay? That's a huge economy of scale for Netflix. And the last thing is the brand, okay? So I spent my life, my marketing partner would tattoo to my forehead, Gib, it's all about movie enjoyment made easy, okay? And then whenever I strayed from that, he'd frickin' beat me up. I've got a designers. This is a wonderful screenshot. We weren't making any money, okay? We had given it all to the class action lawyers. And we decided we were going to test with advertising as a way of making money. So big ass, I can say that in front of my daughter, correct? Ad at the top of the site, and here, this is bizarre. Apparently, there's an ad for giving your dad a gift subscription, which is just weird. But I want to show you how bad advertising would look on the site. No, we had something else interesting. All these DVDs in the mail, we could do personalized, building awareness and trial of new movies. This is Eon Flux. Okay, so we got no profits. And we said, okay, let's just test it, okay? So we did test it. Anybody want to make a guess of the result? I guess the question is this. Do people cancel because on this subscription service that they're paying for, you start advertising, okay? So how many believe that advertising on the site will hurt retention? It'll cause people to cancel, okay? How many believe it's not going to do a damn thing? Why don't you think it's going to do anything?
It's not a huge distraction from the experience.
Okay. The answer was it's not a big distraction from the experience. Okay. Other ideas about why it wouldn't hurt retention? They do. People just ignore them, and the answer, but every freaking website has got ads. So they just kind of tune it out. Okay. That was our intuition. So we tested it, and there was no retention hit. Awesome, okay? And we've got this high margin forecast of $20 million in an era where we weren't making any money. Now the question is, should we launch advertising or not? How many launchers we got out there? You're going to launch it. We're going to be making money. How many people say, no, hold the presses? Why are you saying hold the presses? What's wrong with this? Yes? It's a distraction from the core, okay? It's a distraction from doing personalization or streaming or whatever else. Anybody know the idea of death by paper cuts? That was a real fear, okay? Well, let me tell you what we did. We launched, okay? We delivered that high margin income, and then 2 years later, we killed it, okay? We had invented all sorts of ways to make money. We're selling used discs, we did advertising, etc. And this was probably a reasonable decision. Different needs for a company at different stages. So we actually impressed the shareholder community. We impressed Wall Street. Like, oh, maybe these guys will figure out how to make money. And then we killed it later, okay? And the basic thinking was good is the enemy of great, which is to say, we were never going to be great at advertising, okay? Google was going to be great at advertising. We needed to be great at streaming. We needed to be great at personalization. And the other idea was this death by paper cuts. Frankly, today's website could not be nearly as simple as it is if we had continued hawking you previously viewed discs or putting ads all over the place. All right, So what I've learned about wicked good decisions, generally make them fast, try to maintain as much focus as possible, and think about your long-term strategy. Have a strategy, okay? And in the world order, it used to be that the big fish ate the little fish. Today, the little, small, fast fish gets the big fish, and that was Netflix and Dear Blockbuster. Data helps a lot, okay? So I gave you the hard decisions. There were a lot of easy ones where I knew the results of A/B tests, and we just rolled it out. Obsess over your customers. Obsess over your customers. Obsess over your customers, okay? Good. In any of these debates, get somebody who just says, okay, what's right for the customer? Keeps thinking about that person. So the hard decisions were about launching, responding, and killing. I killed profiles. Profiles was used by 3% of our members. Profiles meant that you could have separate queues in the family, okay? Killed it. That was my first revolt. It turned out that not all customers were created equal. All 12 of our board members were using profiles, and I was going to ruin their marriage, okay? Later, 10% of people were using friends, and I killed it. What happened? No problem, okay? So these killing decisions are mysterious and hard. It's hard to get the data. It's a one-time thing. Most of these times you do it once and see what happens, so it's very, very difficult to test and learn. Thing on the right is a Ouija board. Don't use one for making these kinds of decisions, okay? Frame the process, the timeline, and the stakes. We did that well in the Blockbuster attack. And then this category of math, wicked problems, like how do you solve global warming? The models that I'm used to is, one is authoritative. So Reed said, Gib, we're killing advertising and previously viewed. Okay? I had too much pride and ownership to see it. And he was right. He's a great CEO. The competitive, that's the good fights make good marriages. Model it out, have the muckety-muck team fight through it to get all the issues on the table, the way I'm working you today. I have found the collaborative model too slow and doesn't get enough of the fighting, and it gets into group things, so I'm wary. Practice helps. So most of you are not the CEO. I saw about 6 of you. But ask yourself, what would I do if I was the CEO? And think about it and engage in the debate. And you'll get better and better at making these decisions. So the best way to create the future is to invent it. Okay? I'm going to modify it. To act, to learn, to build, and retreat.